Okay, good morning. Thanks for joining me for our lunchtime 45-minute tune-up. Went pretty lean today. I've got my set of blocks, a blanket, and then today playing with toted double pack, whichever you prefer. And I'm pulling out the alpha as well. So if you have the sky, great. If not, these will work the same, okay? We're going to take care to address the posterior chain primarily. So we are going to start with lower back and glutes. From there, we're going to work our way up into shoulders, neck, and then we're going to put some work into strengthening that posterior chain, the backside, which these days, many days, all the days, but even more so, it seems, at least to me, is that we're here. We're in this position, working, moving forward, seated, and we're going to take some time to bring strength, awareness, and some relief, hopefully, to the backside of the body. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. Right off the bat, our check-in is going to be the pose that we're going to then work with towards the second half. So that's going to be a reclined on the belly, and we're going to come up for a variation of locust. Okay, so coming down onto the belly here. We're going to go ahead and set the forehead down, neutral through the neck, and extend the arms forward, palms down. And just breathe in and out here. And on your next breath in, let's lift it all up. So as you inhale, lift up. So here's our locust. The chest is up, the arms are up, the legs are up, and we're just checking in with how all this feels. All right, come on down. Press yourself up and take it back to a child's pose. Nice and easy child's pose, especially after that extension of the spine. So maybe just forearms down. And breathe into the backside. In the back of the body, the back of the heart, back of the shoulders, the back of the rib, the lower back. And then if comfortable, find your way down, maybe forehead onto folded hands. And take a few more breaths here. Breathing in this position, not only to ease us out of that locust we just held, but with the forehead down, this pressure on third eye center, maybe you're ready for it to drop all the way to the mat, who knows. We're using this to center for the practice. So taking this time as we begin to work inward on the mat. Letting go of the busy morning you may have had. Putting that to-do list on a shelf for when this is complete. And committing to be present here for you these next 42 minutes. With the eyes closed, go ahead and press yourself up to a seat. Take the arms overhead. And bring hands to prayer, center heart. Thank yourself for showing up. Repeat your sankalpa, your solemn vow, that mantra for you of what you are working on, where you are heading, what you would like to see develop in your practice and in your life. I'm always personally drawn to the inquisitive nature of this tune-up practice, letting it draw me into greater understanding of myself, my body, And so I always like to come to the sankalpa, the statement of I am a student of my body, and setting that mindset as I head into practice. So open the eyes, and we're going to begin on our backs. We're going to begin on the backs, and let's have the two balls toted and ready to go. I've got my pair and recline here onto the back. Take the feet wide to start. Knees are bent, feet are wide and off the mat. And let's just get a little bit of movement here, windshield wipering the legs. Just taking it all in. Is there a difference on the right or the left? How do the shoulders feel, the neck, the head, the arms? And then center out. Okay, we're gonna place the toted balls underneath the small of the back. So right here, before I've done anything, and that neutral curve present. And this is just anatomy for most of us on how that curve is sized. So that will help determine if you'd like the smaller balls or the larger balls. We're gonna lift up the hips and place them back down. All right, so I want the hips back down, and I'm placing that pressure into the lower back, the back of the waist. If this feels too intense, you can, and then maybe this is the only size ball you have, so you're working with what you got. You can take your blanket, lift your hips, and then place your blanket under the hips. So instead of coming down to the ground, right, you'll come down to the blanket, and you'll notice as we raise up the hips, then the pressure is not so intense. The shape of the balls now we've lifted up to create more space for them to go. So that might feel better for you. And then you'll find with your blanket, you can always make it thinner, right? I can always take off a layer and come back down and find really the right spot that's working for me. I want to be able to really relax into the balls. So I don't want to feel like I have to grip and hold tension above. I want to let the belly go soft. The hips feel soft. The glutes feel soft. So from here, you may find that it's more relaxing or releasing for you to take the feet wide and drop the knees together. You may prefer to bring the feet together and to drop the knees out into a butterfly, or holding them in half rest. Just that neutral bent knee might be spot on for you today. Let's take 3 more breaths. Just being here. Beautiful. Next, we're gonna lift the hips, so bend the knees, place the feet back on the floor. Say we're in another configuration. We're gonna lift the hips, and then we're gonna place the balls lower. So they're gonna come now on the back of the pelvis. And I'm gonna set down right here. Setting down may lead to some movement. It doesn't have to be big. Go with a swaying motion of the hips rocking from side to side, or a little bit of a chugging motion, just a little bit rocking into the feet forward and back. And the balls are still in their tote, so they're pretty close. We will take some care to open them up and traipse down to wider into the glutes, lower into the glutes. But for now, here we are. Let's go ahead and see about bringing the right knee up into the chest. So we change the pressure here. You can keep the left leg as it is. You may be comfortable letting the left leg extend out. Pulling the knee in, let the shoulders draw down towards the earth. If you'd rather float the left leg, you can float the left leg. The weight of it feels distracting of the overall pose, then leave the foot on the ground. Two more breaths. And for those, let's go ahead and switch the grab to the back of the leg and begin to extend up through the toes. So notice as we do this, we're going to do this moving, right? That I'm not going to let my thigh move away from my chest. So I'm only going to go, this last one we're going to hold. I'm only going to straighten out the back of the leg as much as I can do before that thigh wants to pull away. And then that's where I'm going to live. I'm going to live there. But I am going to access the more on the back side of the leg by flexing the foot, curling the toes back towards you. Holding onto the back of the thigh rather than the back of the calf or the ankle is really working to keep this nice and close here. And getting more of a true sense for the release work on the back of the leg, those muscles. And then let's go ahead and set the right foot down, set the left foot down, and then we'll switch to the other side. Okay, I'm going to bring the left knee into the chest and give it a hug. Arms are going to do the work, trying to really soften into the hip crease, let the thigh come towards the chest best it can. And then we'll see what you want to do with the right leg. So we're here for a couple minutes, right? A good 90 seconds to a change. And then in this group, we're going to push it a little bit more as we did. Right leg can rest out, right leg can hover up, again, as it's not distracting from what you're trying to do. Or you can take that right leg, raising it up to the sky, or releasing it down low. Hover or full release, what works best. Hugging the knee in. Let's switch the grab to the back of the leg now. Again, trying to keep it in that same position, right? And then extend the leg and release. And I'm only straightening it again as much as my thigh and knee are not moving away from me. This one always humbles me. I think those hamstrings are pretty open, and then we come to here and it's a different ball game. Let's hold it, holding it, and then turn on a little extra by flexing. Curl the toes back towards you. And notice how that enlivens further the back of the leg. And then release. Awesome. Let's bring both feet to the ground. And then let's bring both knees into the chest. And you may find you want to change the positioning of the balls, or maybe they're just right. Let's think about flattening the thighs to the rib cage, softening the shoulders away from the ears, and hugging them both in. Switch the hands to the backs of the thighs. Again, keeping them nice and tight, and then extend the legs straight. 1, bend them back. Extend the legs straight. 2, bend them back. Extend the legs straight. 3, hold, flex. Try not to pull the hips up off the ball, but rather drive the hips down into the ball. Two more breaths. And then release them out. Awesome. Take a moment here to pick up the hips and remove the balls. Let the legs remain bent, knock the knees together, or go ahead and lengthen them out, straighten them out, shake them out. And just kind of live here for a moment, eyes closed. We're gonna now untote the balls, and we're gonna begin to bring them wider and a little lower. So untoting the balls, bend the knees, lift the hips, and then I'm gonna shift down. So we were living up in this lower back here. I'm gonna begin to shift down and widen out so that when you come down, you're just coming into the space below more of the bony. So I'm beginning to come into some soft tissue, but I'm not way down there yet in the glute, okay? So going a little bit lower and a little bit wider. And you can figure out that spot that works just right for you. For me, it tends to be about 2 or 3 inches, 2 inches maybe right below my waist, so not too low. And I tend to get a nice feedback of what's on the front side to help to the back side. So where my hip bones are in the front, that nice top kind of most protruding portion or the most obvious portion of the bone, which is pretty center of it, right? Not the top part, the lower part, it's right center. And then that's about where I go right to the other side and the balls are there. Okay, so I'm on the back side of those ACIS bones. Okay, and then we're gonna do some rocking, just little. If you go too fast, the balls go really wide really quickly. So I like to start with them not too wide because they're gonna go a little wider. Can you feel that happening? Rocking the hips from side to side here. Not really moving the knees. They may move a little bit, but I'm not going big on the knees yet. I'm sliding the hips. Feel how the balls are beginning to widen out. Now, before they go too wide, then let's take just the knee out on the left and bring it back. And just the knee out on the right and bring it back. And just the knee out on the left and just the knee out on the right. And then you decide how this pressure is. If you're looking for more, next time you take the left one out, maybe the right one comes over with it and you're rolling into the twist, more intense. Come on back. And we're gonna take the right one out first and then bring the left one over there. And then coming back. This time, let's see about living a little bit into that, in that twist, in that side. And since here we're in the twist, I no longer have any pressure on the right side, but guess what? I'm gonna find a spot for it. So from here, I'm gonna lift up my left knee just a little bit and I'm gonna nuzzle it in to that outer hip. And then now I'm coming down. Okay. So I'm digging right into that outer hip. I'm thinking where my thigh bone begins to plug in the hip. And you can keep sustained pressure on it if you like little chugs, or if you want to do a little bit of side to side rocking in that space. Getting into some external rotators, that outer hip line. And a lot of that tension and tightness can commonly cause source of tension in the lower back. So we're treating that here. I'm not into my IT band. I'm still really just living on through the outer hip. And then as we gently lift back up, take your time because we're going to pop that first, that outer one out, bring it around and place it on the right side, right? So back to the center, and now the balls are pretty even left and right, yeah? Okay, take the right out to the right and then drop the left knee over. From here, I've cleared off the left ball, so I'm gonna lift up my right knee and then I'm gonna stick it in again, that outer hip. And finding just those right spots that serve, a little nuzzling around, a little rocking, a little chugging, and I'm gonna find right where I wanna live. Taking in some information, how this feels a little different than my other side. How there seems to be, at least for the side for me, I have a greater opportunity on coming up through the back of the pelvis more than I do on that outer thigh and hip. Notice the quality of your breath, its tempo, its rhythm. Too intense, we go around the area, not on the area. And we've got a good another 30 seconds or so to be here. And then finding out what maybe we can let go of. What areas feel stuck and could use some care. Let's take 3 more breaths. We find our way out. And then as we do, we're going to take our time, weight into the feet, lifting up, and then let's lower down again with nothing underneath us. You decide, do you want your knees knocked together? Do you want to butterfly out, or do you want your legs out straight? 2 more breaths here. Awesome. Okay, we're going lower and wider still as we're really going to work into the glutes here. Okay, work into the glutes. So placing them really more into the fleshy part of the buttocks here. And small circles. It's kind of getting into the tissues, noticing what might be there to find. Maybe they feel easy, great, fluid. Maybe they feel really tense. Seeing what's up. Do you want to switch the size of your ball? Are you right in the right spot? Okay, so from here now, we're going to do a tense and release with the glutes. So we're going to get deeper into the glutes. This is where I'm going to bring out the big boy in case you want to play with that one at a time. So we only need one ball underneath, and maybe I'm going to do my left side first so you can at least see that. I'm going to let my left leg extend out. So I can feel really kind of off, especially if I have the bigger one on one side. So if you want, you can place your right hand underneath the left side of the right side, excuse me, or set the smaller ball. So you can do another ball underneath there. I have the bigger one, right? So I'm really activating what's happening on the left side, but the right side is just feeling so my hips aren't totally under balance. If you've got your blanket, you could stick your blanket under there too, or your block, small block, whatever works. So the height should definitely feel like I have more pressure of what's happening on my left side, okay, but my right side doesn't feel fully imbalanced, okay. So here we go. We're gonna do a nice tension, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze of the left glute. So from here, I'm gonna squeeze the left glute like I'm trying to drive that ball into the ground. Drive, 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 drive. Hold it, 5, hold it 4, hold it 3, squeeze it tighter 2, and then just exhale, release off. Okay, let's do it again. Inhale, squeeze, 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 holding this tense, 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 hold, 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 5, 4, 3, 2, outer hip even squeezes in, it's all tight, and then release. Okay, so sometimes we think bigger is better, but smaller sometimes is more, I guess would be the right question, right word. And more is not necessarily better, but more is more. So I'm going to go ahead because I always like to start off with the alpha to just kind of see what's going on. And then I know, you know what, I'd like it a little bit more. I'd like to go in there a little further. So I'm gonna come back to my plus size for my last go round. So I'm gonna stick just the plus size in there. Now I may not even need the one on the right, okay, because I'm lower to the ground. Left leg goes out long. I'm gonna get it right into maybe even a new spot, see what's up. And then here we go. Let's do it one more time. Drive it, drive it. So I'm trying to push the ball into the ground, but as I do that, I'm squeezing my buttock so much that I'm lifting up off the ball, right? And then you're holding it. We're doing a good 15-second hold. 4, 3, squeeze, 2, and then release it out. Awesome. And then nuzzle in. And let's go ahead and switch it onto the other side. Come on down. How does that feel? Left side, right side? Okay. You started with the alpha, we'll start with the same. So I'm going alpha on the right, and I have just the 2 side by side. They're not really digging in, they're just helping to find that support. Or again, you can use your blanket, a block, or your hand. Okay, nuzzled around, found where I want to get into that glute on the right side. And then here we go, drive it, squeeze and hold. Squeeze the outer hip in too, squeeze and hold. You could even push your heel down and activate the hamstrings on the back, getting more, and that'll come all the way up through the glute too. So drawing down, 2, 1, and then soften out. Okay, let's go again. Drive it. Heel can push down, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Outer hip hugs in. We got into those tissues, so I know mine are feeling more active. Just nice. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. All right. I want to finish that off with my plus. So I'm only doing the 1 under that side and going with the right. And I don't know if you've noticed this subtly or not. I started to fall into that bad habit. It's tricky. But as we're activating the right side here, the left side is not working. So just the right side. So squeeze it. Notice if you're turning on the left and try to get out of that. Let the left be soft. That's why sometimes if it's resting onto something, it's easier. Okay. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Drive it in. Heel down. Drive it in. Nice and active. Don't activate the left. Just the right. 2, and then 1. Draw it in. Rock it out. And then go ahead and stick that other free one that you have underneath the left side. And now you've got both in there. If there's any little finishing work areas that you wanted to make sure that you've got to in that surface, go ahead and go for it. We're going to be coming off the glutes here. Just about 3 more breaths. Again, any area you wanted to get to, any extra spots, up, down, around, wider, closer together. Now's your chance. And then we're releasing off. Awesome. Let the legs lengthen out. Take the arms overhead and stretch it all out. Draw the knees into the chest and give a hug. And rock from side to side. Nice. Rolling all the way over to the left side. Let's come on up onto hands and knees. And then from here, we're going to come down onto our elbows. Okay, forearms. So we went to liven up, right? Through here, let's see how that goes. Take the right leg back. Toes are on the ground. Right, I'm trying not to sink here, so I'm going to get a press down. And a nice way to integrate some balance in there is to press the outer wrists. So it's not the elbows driving down, it's not the fingers driving down, it's the outer wrist drawing down. You may prefer to interlace the hands if you do so. The bottommost pinky tucks in, and that's a easier foundation. Or you might just like a prayer or palms down too. It's the wrists. Think of the wrist. Okay, nice and balanced here. Pick up through the heel of the right leg, press. Elbows are squeezing towards each other rather than away, but try not to get too much into the arms and the shoulders right here. It's just a nice stable base. I just don't want to be sinking, right? But I'm really just reaching up through the right, reaching up through the right, reaching up through the right, and keep turning it on. Working those extensors, keep turning it on, keep turning it on, keep turning it on, keep turning it on. Hold. 3, hold. 2, and then release it down. Okay, left leg, extend the left leg back with the toes on the ground, right? Just what I need to have a good base, but I'm not overworking from above. Elbows rest under the shoulders, wrist pressure down, and then push up to the heels. So really trying to isolate this work. The left lifts, and then keep pushing it, keep pushing it, keep pushing it. So we are definitely dealing with range of motion. I mean, we didn't do anything to really open the front quad or the front hip. We're just really turning on these muscles in the back, and then you're holding it at your maximum height. Really just pushing it away, holding 5, holding 4, 3, shaking it out 2, and then release down. Awesome. Come on up. Okay, I want to get into the neck a little bit, and we're going to do that fairly quick with some just single ball on either side, working through the trapezius muscle group. So we're going to come upper, and we're going to get into some of the lower fibers as well. We're going to do this with our blocks and our balls. So coming down, I've got my blocks nearby. We're going to do our suspended bridge with the pressure coming down on the balls. Okay. So lowering down, reclining, hair out of the way, lifting up enough to place the balls side by side in that. I like to start a little lower on the traps personally. Okay. And then from here, so I'm not all the way at the top, I'm a little tucked under, right? Little tucked under left and right. Head is in the hands. And then just open the right elbow out and bring it back. The head is being supported by the hands. I'm making just like a neck sling, okay? So I can release into it. Open the left elbow out to the right, out to the left. Awesome. Open the right out. Bring it back. So the balls are in a nice position and I'm leaning into them and then opening. We're doing a pin and stretch here, yeah? Pinning it and then stretching it. Awesome. Come on back. Left elbow out. And back. Maybe a slight change. Right elbow. And back. All right, both elbows. And back. And both elbows. And back. Awesome. Let's get one more like that. Both elbows. And then back. Right. Again, supporting head and hands if comfortable, little chugging, little bit, doesn't need to be a lot. Hips like to hover here just a little bit, feeling that drive, too intense, they're coming right down. Inhale, see about taking the head down to the ground. All right, still keeping the back of the neck long, I'm still supporting this, little side to side. Think of side bend and side bend, right? So side bending right hip to right ribs, side bend left hip to left ribs, right side, left side, little side bend. Hips are on the ground. Head is on the ground, from the back of the hands are on the ground. And then releasing. Okay, so I don't know about you, but that little wiggling began to work the balls up a little higher, which is exactly what I wanted. If it did not work that way for you, then see what you can do to position the balls a little bit higher, okay? We're gonna come on up, we're gonna find our blocks now, and lifting up through the hips, we can get what that drive is, and then you can decide how high would you like to stack your blocks, what is the right pressure that you're interested in finding today. Then we're taking the hips down and letting that settle in, working more into the upper trap now, okay? I like to go with a cactus arm to begin, but we'll do a couple of different arms. If you already know which one you want to do, go for it. Legs can stay bent, or if you want to take the legs out straight, make sure the positioning of the blocks isn't causing any impingement in the lower back, so that should feel really supported as we're going to keep the knees bent or take them lower.
All right, inhale. See about taking the arms straight overhead now and then bending back to the cactus. And inhale, reach in there, just sweeping across the ground. I don't even need to lift them. I don't need to put any extra weight into it. And again, maybe they're beginning to move a little bit on you. And if you need to reposition, reposition. Or maybe you're finding that that's just what you'd like. As they go overhead now, begin to draw them over towards each other. Right? So instead of just going straight up and wide, as they go over, maybe the hands come together, side by side, and back through. And side by side, and back through. And if there's a place along this way that you want to stay, stay. I usually like to stay with the arms a little longer. That's pretty nice. And then from there, I like to take a few breaths each spot as then I begin to slowly take them back out. Consider drawing your left ear towards the ground. And then coming up, take your time and draw the right ear to the ground. And coming back up. And just, if the legs were straight, bend the knees. Inhale, take the fingers to the sky. Exhale, bring them down. Inhale, take them back. And lift the hips, remove your blocks. And come on down. Now the balls have probably slid up, really into the upper trap, still on the outside of the neck, and we're going to try to draw them in. So we're going a little narrower. The balls are closer to the sides of the neck. We'll start with the right ear down. And I'm kind of squeezing, I'll show you on the left, squeezing that ball tucked in, rolling the side of the neck. So getting a little of that muscle connection from the upper trap up through the scalene side of the neck, trying to roll into it here. You can always do this with the alpha ball as well if you're looking for more space. So that might sit in nice in that neck turn. And so I have that option. Getting both sides of the neck done. Last couple breaths, make sure you change sides and they're both feeling it. And then we're going to release. All right, reclining onto the back. Maybe you can just grab your pouch from here and re-tote the balls up before you need to move. We have one more roll to do, and then we'll come back to our check-in pose. Okay. So from here, bend the knees, tuck them in, and roll yourself up for a moment. We're going to take the balls, place them about bra line, shoulder blade line, and then we're just going to roll up a few inches. And we're going to chug a little bit in that area in order to help find a little more and release these tissues that are here and draw into more of a back bend, okay? So coming down, bending the elbows, placing the balls there. Again, I'm going to support my head, making that sling, lifting the hips, and then here's my little align. And as I come through, instead of staying upright the whole time, I like to, as soon as I hit each one, begin to bend a little extension, a little back bend right on over until I hit just the right spot that I can put my head down. Maybe the elbows go wide, maybe they prefer to stay up. Maybe you move a little bit through them. You want to find a new spot, but I'm not rolling up into the neck, so be sure you don't roll too high up there. Again, doesn't need to roll at all. Maybe you already found that spot and you just want to be. Once you do, the hips come down. And still stay with a little rocking motion if that feels nice, or you can just recline over it. Maybe the elbows open, maybe you no longer need the hand for the head, or maybe you'd like to grab your blanket and elevate the head even higher. Reaching the arms up, 3 breaths wherever you've landed. Two breaths. Breathing into the balls. And then hold the breath. Exhale, just soften. All right. Taking your time, bending the knees, supporting the head, rolling sideways, and coming onto your belly. Go ahead and come onto the belly, forehead down, fold it onto the hands to start. And then releasing the hands, forehead down, extend the arms out. Inhale here, just lifting the right arm and the left leg. And then release. Next breath in, right leg, left arm. Lift them both nice and high. And release. Inhale, lift both arms, and then add the head and the neck. And release. And then as we lift everything, we're going to think about just really stretching out long as you lift up. So not just up, but long, reach through fingers, reach through feet, and lift it all up. 5, lift it all up. 4, lift it all up. 3, lift it all up. 2, and then release it all down. Arms by your sides, palms up, left ear down. Belly Shavasana. Send the back body, fill it with breath. Two more breaths here. And then let's go belly down Shavasana with the right ear down. And work lighter on the breath. And space on the sides of the neck to make that rotation. Maybe you need to reach the fingers a little lower for a moment, drop those shoulders from the ears here. Breathing in, out, nice and easy. And take a few more breaths, allowing the weight of the head to sink into the mat. And then nice and easy, bring the hands under your shoulders and just bring your forehead to the mat. Slide your hands a little lower, squeeze the elbows in, pull the belly in. You're pressing up and back to child's pose. Nice and easy. Maybe eyes even remain closed. And did you like child's pose folded on the hands? Did you like child's pose, forehead to mat? Forehead's connecting to something. Easing through. Tucking the elbows in, keep the eyes closed, and come up to a seat. Sweep the arms overhead. Exhaling, hands to heart. Come back to your sankalpa, your statement at the start of practice, and reaffirm it. Remind yourself. I thank you each for your practice. May you reap its rewards. Tashmana Shri Gurudev Namaha. Namaste.